Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.
El día de hoy para Rutas Alternas tenemos el gusto de conectar con Brian Lopez porque la agrupación XIXA está ya muy próxima a presentar el disco Génesis. Antes nos adelantan el sencillo Eclipse y para platicar de todo ello tenemos el gusto de charlar hoy con Brian. Hola, Brian.
Hola, how's it going, Gil?
Very well, thank you. Where are you right now, Brian?
I'm in my home, my backyard in Tucson, Arizona, where the weather is beautiful today. As you can see, there's some cactus behind me right there, you know, very Arizona style.
Yes.
So you got a little piece of the desert for you.
Brian, I have listened the whole album Genesis. It's amazing. Good. It's a great sound of the band. And it also took me to some parts of the desert. There's some kind of vibe of loneliness, but roughness, but to think about the road. I mean, that's all of the stuff I found in your album.
Oh, well, that's good. That's exactly what the message we're trying to convey, I think. But yeah, growing up here in Tucson, Arizona, just to give your listeners some kind of proximity, we're about 40 minutes north of the Mexican-American border. And the landscape is very desert-like. We're in the Sonoran Desert, and it is a rough place. I don't know why settlers decided on building in this area hundreds of years ago, but they did, and here we are.
I know. But there's also some kind of magic in the desert, right? Because, I mean, you are in the middle of nowhere, and there's a lot of creativity when you are alone.
Yeah, I think this land really has a mystic quality to it, and in 2021, it's a little bit harder to tap into. I mean, we have Wi-Fi and modern stuff, for example, but the land itself, there is a mystic quality in it, and you can tap into it if you're tuned into the right frequency. Yeah, and that's certainly what we try to do with our music, really just dig deep into our roots here. It's like taking a cactus and flipping it inside out so you can see all the guts of the cactus, yes. The darker side of this land, as opposed to the bright, sunshiny Wi-Fi part of the land.
So Brian, what can you tell us about XIXA? There are 6 members in the band. You have this vibe we have talked about, but you also have a lot of Latin influence in your music. How did you get together to play songs?
So the long story is we used to be called XIXA Dust, and we were a XIXA cover band.
Okay.
We started in maybe 2012 or 2013, exclusively playing Peruvian chicha because we wanted to, and we just loved the music and thought it'd be really fun to learn all those songs, especially as a classical guitarist, electric guitarist. For me, it was like, oh man, this is like the most rock and roll music I've heard in like decades, you know, yes. Peruvian chicha. So we did that for a few years and became really, really popular. You can still find us on like YouTube, for example, XIXA Dust. And then we decided to make it more of a serious band. And if we were going to do that, we needed to start writing our own original material, always filtered through the lens of the stuff that got us here, you know, with cumbia and chicha and you know, psychedelic rock and roll in general, all mixed through songwriting. And we changed our name to XIXA, and we put out an album and a couple of EPs. And then with Genesis, this most recent record, it's been about 5 years of writing and constant touring, really. I mean, I feel like people don't really understand when you're on the road, 200, 300 shows, you start to like learn what your real sound is each day, doing the same thing methodically, each band member finding their own roles within this new sonic landscape that you're creating without even knowing that you're creating it. And now we find ourselves in 2021 with this new record that when I listen to it, because I haven't heard it for a while, to be honest, we did it and then I just move on to the next thing. When I listen back to it, it's like, oh, that's exactly where we're supposed to be and what we should sound like. And we're just digging deeper and deeper into the earth here in the desert and just trying to find like, yes, the rest of the world needs to know that the way that album sounds is how we feel here in this part of the world, you know.
It's been a long road, right? 5 years and all that shows. And how important is to chat with your other bandmates, because it's a little hard to make six minds think the same thing, at least in music.
Yeah, for sure. It's very difficult. It's like I tell my girlfriend, it's like being married to 5 other people, you know, but you
Yes.
can't really, you don't really get divorced. You just fight each other on the road constantly. But we're like brothers, you know. I mean, we've been through literally everything you could think of, and we've kissed and made up after every big argument. I mean, it's luckily we have a good rapport with each other, to where we can be honest. And at the forefront, everyone just kind of trusts myself and Gabriel, the other band leader, to kind of have the bigger conceptual ideas. And then we can all just kind of fall into place where we need to fall into place. But yeah, everyone kind of, it's great because they give us the space to Gabe and I to kind of bring the bigger picture, and then it kind of flows through the band and everyone crafts their own little area. And it's taken a long time to get to that point. And you know, playing in many bands my whole life, ever since I was a little kid, I know how special and unique it is when you can get to a place where you can have arguments and disagreements, but ultimately the music in the end is all that really matters. And if everybody is on the same page with that philosophy, it's going to yield great results, no matter which way you look at it, you know?
Yes,
So in the end,
absolutely.
it's all about the music. It's all about the music.
And Brian, what can you tell us about this Latin American heritage we can find in your music? Because Latin America has a lot of music, not only from the folk music, but from new music, new sounds. How do you find and discover these instruments and the sounds that you want for your band?
Yeah, so I mean, again, we're a border town generally, you know, like we're not too far from Mexico and Mexican culture. Well, you know, in 1912 this was Mexico, so
Yes.
we still have that music. I grew up, all the school I went to, half the songs were in Spanish. It was a bilingual school. You know, I was in ballet folklorico. Like I played trumpet in mariachi band, and these are things that are pretty normal for this area. A lot of people don't realize that, and if you grew up in a different place, you don't understand Tucson, Arizona is, you know, a lot of rich Mexican heritage for sure. But as far as learning other types, like Peruvian chicha, for example, that was totally by accident, really just coming across a compilation called the Roots of Chicha, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I don't know if you've listened to that, but
Yes.
our friend Olivier Conan in Barbès Records and Bar in New York City turned us on to that record, and it just blew our minds. And then we started the Chicha Dust cover band, and then you start to learn more stuff, and then people start sending. We had Peruvian people following us on Facebook, like literally sending me like little CDs in the mail of like more like Peruvian songs that I should listen to. And then the Colombians would send me their versions of cumbias. And it was, you know, you just go down this rabbit hole of like, wow, how do people not know about it? It's so amazing, so brilliant. And you know, I play in a band, I play guitar for a band called Calexico. I don't know if you know that, but
Yes.
and they're also big. They love the collaboration of different cultures and mixing stuff. They're super experimental when it comes to just taking, and you know, I think Gabriel and myself for sure have come up in that culture of just, yeah, I love how that sounds. Let's work together. Let's do that. Oh, what if we do some, you know, we're super open to the wonderful opportunities there are with different music that grew up in different places. And it's just, there's just so much of it here. I don't know, like sometimes it's too overwhelming.
I know.
But when you just narrow it down to Latin America, there's still so much. It's just like, you know, there's 18 different types of cumbia going on all over the place. And then there's like dance music, there's like old school, like mambo, there's, you know, salsa and Afro-Cuban. It's hard to to not let yourself be overwhelmed by all the influences. You got to narrow it down at some point and say, okay, we're just going to take a little bit of that and that. But ultimately, we have to kind of find our own sound.
Yes.
But as far as listening, yeah, we're pretty far out there with a lot of different diverse sounds.
Yes, because what I listen in the album is that exactly you found some pieces of this kind of music and put it together in your own psychedelic sound, alternative rock sound, and it's very solid, and it's also, as I said, very, very desert music, if I may, and
yeah,
it
sure.
sounds great. It sounds great. Sounds like. A very a very interesting band that wants to know what's happened around them and after them and before them.
Yeah, yeah. I never thought of it that way, but that's a very interesting way to put it. Sure. Yeah. I mean, when I think of how we got here, I certainly have to think of like Gabriel and I were both in a band called Giant Sand, and that band took us on tour, and we're pretty young and impressionable and kind of learned to collaborate with Calexico, also from Tucson area.
Yes.
Same thing. And then, Sergio Mendoza, and we've worked with Camilo Lara with Mexican Institute of Sound. And it's just a lot of stuff that after so much, it's just a culmination of all these experiences that have put us exactly where we are now. And going forward, yeah, I'm really excited because we're just getting better, if I can say so. Like
Yes.
we're able to compartmentalize better, if I can put it that way. Like I think we kind of have it a system now, whereas before it was like with our first album, I think we were a little too distracted with too many sounds. Like we like heavy metal, we like cumbia, we like, okay, let's do it all. And if I listen to that first record, I like it, but it sounds very too many different parts. And with stuff we do now, we really want to think of the listener and how they would perceive it, and we don't want to give them too much information that their brains are overwhelmed with sonic stimulus. So we have to like narrow it down.
Yes.
Into something that we still find super interesting, and hopefully our listeners find interesting as well.
Yes, absolutely. Brian, we will have the album Genesis this February 18, right? With Jillian Records.
Yeah, I think it's out Friday the 19th. Yeah,
cool.
On Julian Records, yes.
Julian Records. How was working with them?
It's been great. It's been great. I mean, I haven't met any of them personally because of COVID, but working with them, it's very professional, and that's all you can really ask for.
New normality, right?
Yeah, new normality. That's the next album title.
Brian, we will listen to the album this Friday, February 19. Are you gonna play some streaming or do something online for the launch of the album?
Yeah, so I think on the 24th of February, we're gonna have a live streaming thing on bands in town. So if you just go to our Facebook and Instagram, we'll let everybody know what's gonna happen and where you can catch it.
Great. So Brian, tell us your social media to can follow you.
Okay, so it's XIXA, XIXA. You can just look that up on Instagram, and we'll probably be the first ones that pop up. And if you look that up on Facebook, we'll be the first ones to pop up.
Absolutely.
Same thing with Twitter, YouTube, obviously on Spotify and anywhere you listen to your music streaming, we're there. XIXA, XIXA.
Very easy. XIXA, XIXA. We can find you everywhere, and listen to the album on digital platforms next Friday. You will publish your album in physical formats, in CD or vinyl?
Yeah, so we have vinyl.
Okay.
We had a limited amount of gold nugget. I should have brought it here so I could have shown you, but those are almost sold out, but we have a lot more of the black vinyl coming in soon. So if you can make your pre-orders now if you want to, or just wait until it comes out. But yeah, we have vinyl and hats, shirts, everything for the new Genesis release. We're super excited about it.
Great. Looking forward to have the album. Looking forward to see you here live in Guadalajara. I hope that you can make it at the end of the summer, maybe autumn. I don't know.
Oh man, that would be amazing. One of these days, for sure, Gil, for sure. Got to get to Guadalajara. Have to.
You will be very welcome here and have a blast.
You're making me hungry. That's the best food ever over there. Now I need to have lunch or something.
We're going to take you to some seafood and some tortas ahogadas and all the Guadalajara stuff.
Oh my God, I'm super excited.
Great. Brian, thank you so much for this chat with Rutas Alternas.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gil.
Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.